While users were waiting so long for this feature to come to VSTS, we're talking about manual intervention and what does it mean for you and for me as well. uh, we already have this feature on the on-premise version of Release Management 2013, 2015, but we still didn't have this feature on Release Management web version, which we already had on TFS 2015, and we still didn't have it on VSTS. So the release pipeline could only be executed constantly without manual interventions between tasks. And you can now do that. You can now add a manual intervention to stop a release in order to execute some tasks a human being should do. So let's see how do we work with this new task. Okay. Well, I have a prepared release pipeline to show you, but let's see how can we add this task. It's a server task. Okay, so we need to click on the arrow on the right of the add task button and choose to add tasks which will run on the server. Okay. By the way, the manual intervention is the only available task for server until now. And once we add this task, it will appear here, and it's the same thing as the on-premise version. You add instructions, and that's all. Okay, so I prepared here a release pipeline which will archive some files from the build, and we'll wait for a manual intervention to check whether the files were correctly zipped, and if so, it will copy the zip files to the destination. Okay, so let's see it working. I prepared two releases so we can see both the successful manual intervention and the failed manual intervention. Okay, well, let's first fail a manual intervention. Let's get back to releases. You can see here that we have a clock icon which shows us that we have a manual intervention pending for this release. Okay, we can work here. We can work clicking on the release definition and using this alert, this warning right here, to resume or reject the release. Okay, or we can work on the log, which will show us this icon from the manual intervention that shows us the pop-up where we can work and make the release resume or be rejected. Okay, so let's fail this release and let's say that we didn't find any zipped file on unzipped file. That's all. And we reject the release. What happens? Okay, the release is failed. Let's look at the summary. Okay, it's failed. If you look at the log, it says that the manual intervention was rejected, and if we click on this icon it shows the details and the comments, right, as well as the on-premise version. So let's get back to releases and let's see what happens if we resume the release by accepting the manual intervention. Okay, so let's do this by this visualization. Well, that worked. Everything is zipped. Okay, let's resume. Once we click here to see the logs, we have the release pipeline continuing and going through the success. Well, that's all. That's how you work with the manual intervention, which is a very special feature now from release on VSTS.